From the Detroit Free Press, it's Friday, January 8th. Here are today's top stories, presented by Bush's Fresh Food Market. Calling all foodies, Bush's is hiring. Are you passionate about food, looking for growth, development, and excellent wages? Come grow with Bush's and apply online at bush's.com/join our team. That's Bush's, BUSCHS.com/join our team.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Kerry Jr. II. On Wednesday, while federal lawmakers were certifying the 2020 election, pro-Trump extremists stormed the U.S. Capitol in a last-minute effort to support President Donald Trump for re-election.
This is history. This is the second American Revolution.
The altercation resulted in 4 deaths among the terrorists. Dozens were arrested, and 2 pipe bombs were recovered. At least 6 Michigan residents were arrested in relation to Wednesday's riot. Clara Hendrickson has more on Michigan's connection to the terrorist plot in D.C. Claire, what's the connection between Michigan and what we saw Wednesday?
Many Michigan voters actually traveled to the nation's capital to participate in the day's demonstrations. There were Republican Party organizations across the state and just individuals who took it upon themselves to arrange transportation so folks could be there in D.C.
So you spoke with 2 Trump supporters from Michigan who traveled to D.C. to participate in these demonstrations. What did they have to say?
One told me that he was at the Capitol where he said he did not witness any violence. When I asked him whether he had heard about reports about individuals storming the Capitol building and members of Congress having to evacuate, he said, "I'm sure somewhere in there's probably some truth, but I don't know what's true." Another Trump supporter from Michigan who is in D.C. said that all of what the media is saying is not true, and I have a lot of footage.
Michigan Congress members, what have they been saying about what's going on? How are they doing? Do we have an update on them?
So I've been following Michigan's congressional delegation that's been living through the events that we saw unfold. Many of them took to Twitter to report that they were safe and to condemn the events. Representative Andy Levin called what happened an assault on our democracy. Newly seated Representative Peter Meijer said that this was a sad day for our republic. Representative Tim Walberg, who was actually planning to object the Electoral College results, called the behavior unacceptable. And Representative Rashida Tlaib called for Trump to be impeached a second time.
President-elect Joe Biden came out to speak. What did he have to say?
So Joe Biden has called on Trump to forcefully condemn the violence in the Capitol as an insurrection, which he has not done. And earlier in the day, he said that the scenes of chaos do not reflect the true America and represent who we really are as a country.
Thanks again, Clara.
Thanks for having me.
Yesterday, in my view, one of the darkest days in the history of our nation.
President-elect Joe Biden, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and Governor Gretchen Whitmer addressed the riots Thursday. Biden called the events an assault on American democracy.
What we witnessed yesterday was not dissent, it was not disorder, it was not protest, it was chaos. They weren't protesters. Don't dare call them protesters. They were a riotous mob, insurrectionists, domestic terrorists. It's that basic, it's that simple.
Pelosi shared the sentiments of Michigan Representative Rashida Tlaib. She suggested Congress could move forward with impeachment.
In calling for this seditious act, the President has committed an unspeakable assault on our nation and our people. I join the Senate Democratic leader in calling on the Vice President to remove this president by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment. If the Vice President and the Cabinet do not act, the Congress may be prepared to move forward with impeachment.
On MSNBC Thursday, Governor Gretchen Whitmer called the scenes from Wednesday a familiar sight. She referenced a similar incident when armed men tried to break into the Michigan House of Representatives in April of last year. Some of the men involved in the Capitol protests in D.C. were charged with plotting to kidnap the governor. Whitmer said politics are endangering the country and its democracy, and it must stop.
I'm Marlo Alter of the Free Press Sports Department with an early look at mock draft season. That's right, folks. With the 2020 season in the books for non-playoff teams like the Detroit Lions, we turn our attention to April's 2021 NFL Draft, where hope springs eternal as the weather warms. This year, the Lions hold the number 7 overall pick, their third straight season with a top 10 pick, after a third straight last-place finish in the NFC North. So, what are the Lions' needs this offseason, and who are the top prospects? It all starts with what the Lions do at quarterback with Matthew Stafford. The Lions still don't have a general manager or head coach, so we have no idea what their plan will be at the sport's most important position. Stafford will be 33 in February and has 2 years remaining on his contract. The Lions desperately need playmakers on defense, with lackluster performances across all 3 levels. And on offense, the Lions' top 3 receivers in Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones, and Danny Amendola will all be free agents. So, who is an early fit at number 7? Start with receivers Devontae Smith, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner from Alabama, and Jamar Chase, who started LSU in 2019 but opted out of this season amid the COVID-19 pandemic. ESPN's Todd McShay released his first mock draft Thursday and has the Lions going with Chase. The 6'1" receiver set the single-season SEC record in 2019 for receiving yards with 1,780 and touchdowns with 20, while catching passes from Joe Burrow. Meanwhile, USA Today has the Lions going with Penn State linebacker Micah Parsons, who also sat out the 2020 season. The do-it-all 6'3", 245-pounder had 109 tackles, 5 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles last season as an off-ball linebacker. Stay tuned for Freep.com as we keep you plugged in through it all.
For more stories from the Detroit Free Press, be sure to check out Freep.com. That's FREEP.com. If you're a fan and want to support our quality local journalism, subscribe. Go to Freep.com/special offer.